Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Weather with Ryan forecast video. In today's forecast, we're going to be discussing the upcoming severe weather for tomorrow. But before we get into that, let's go over the current conditions and the weather for today. Taking a look at the weather for today, high of 83 degrees, winds northwest 5 to 10 miles per hour, chance of precipitation 15%, humidity 74%. All right, taking a look at Wednesday's severe weather outlook. 2 rounds of storms are possible. One Wednesday afternoon and again on Wednesday night. The tornado potential is pretty low, except I wouldn't be surprised to see it bumped up at least a little bit due to recent model guidance. Hail is on the low side. Wind and flooding are on the medium side. Again, we are on a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe storms tomorrow on Wednesday. Due to the recent model guidance, I wouldn't be surprised to see it upgraded at least to an enhanced, not a moderate, but most likely to an enhanced. Speaking about the recent model guidance, let's get straight into that. So what is going to cause this severe weather in our area? Well, it's pretty simple. So take a look at the 500 millibar jet stream. This is the winds 10,000 feet up in the air. You can start to see the notch again. I don't know if you remember that. The notch, I remember talking about the notch in the videos before. You see that notch? That in this corridor, it brings in warm air from the Gulf of Mexico, cooler air from this spinning low pressure from all that Arctic air up there, brings it all down here, and that creates lift for thunderstorms. This is where thunderstorm development will be. Hot and cold air converge together, and then the hot air rises, and there's going to be sufficient moisture in the air, and then boom, you have thunderstorm development. But I digress. Moving on, this is Wednesday at 6 a.m., and then around Wednesday at around 7 p.m., you could really start to see ample 500 millibar flow really start to pick up in our area. Very high winds aloft starting to pick up. Winds in excess of 50 to 60 knots in our area. This is an ample jet streak. Very high kinks in the isocentric and the isocentrics. That's going to cause, again, forcing for thunderstorms to develop in our area. Again, taking another closer view of the 500 millibar map, all right, on Wednesday around 12 p.m., really, the ample 500 millibar starts to come into our area, starts to get in here, around 50, almost 60 knots of 500 millibar flow coming in here, and then this is around 6 p.m., 500 millibar flow is in our area now, around 50 to 60 knots of 500 millibar flow, and there's a lot of kinks in the line. Again, that's going to cause very good forcing for thunderstorm development in our area. Taking a look at CAPE values with hodographs. You might be asking, what are hodographs? Well, hodographs, all they are is just showing the spin in the wind up at the higher elevations and lower elevations. So you see this is the spin right here in the winds, right there, that's the spin. You see how it's all like, curly and all that? That's wind shear. That's wind changing with height. That's a lot of wind changing with height. You see, so you're going up like 5,000 feet, the wind's going this way, and then you go up 10,000 feet and the wind's going this way, and then 15,000 feet, it's going up this way. So the wind is changing with height, and that is primarily good for tornado and rotating updrafts in these thunderstorms for development. So this is at Wednesday at 12 p.m. Very high CAPE values, 45,000 joules per kilogram. That is a loaded gun. That is incredible instability in our area. Again, anything above 2,000 joules per kilogram is a loaded gun. That is more than enough CAPE values in our area. Plus, with the nice hodographs of the tornado potential and rotating updrafts, again, possible hazard type tornado, you can see the wind barbs really changing with height. This is closer to the surface, 1,000 feet off the surface, 850 millibars, which is 5,000 feet, 500 millibars, which is 12 miles above the surface. Look, you see how the wind's changing with height? Wind changing with height slowly. Hodographs, wind changing with height, possible hazard type tornado. Supercell, we have a 12.0 on supercell. And most unstable surface-based CAPE of 5,313 joules per kilogram. And don't worry about any of the other stuff. This is a bunch of like meteorological stuff. The stuff that I outlined just a couple seconds ago are the stuff that you should really be paying attention to. I want to shift our attention to the wind shear. This is wind changing with height. Yet again, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to explain that, but this is wind changing with height. This is at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. All right, moving on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The wind shear really starts to pick up around 8 p.m. Very high wind shear in our area. That's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. We have just around 58, 60 knots of wind shear, which is more than enough for rotating updrafts and tornado development. Taking a look at the updraft helicity. Updraft helicity focuses on the potential rotation of air within the updraft of a storm and is a critical factor in assessing the likelihood of tornado development. So this is at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, 3, 4. Look at that. You could start to see some updraft helicity in our area. And these are coming from the northwest. So, coming out of Arkansas, which is never good. That's how tornadoes come into our area. Remember December 10th? That came out of Arkansas. Anyway, 5 p.m., 6, really starting to see some more updraft helicity in our area. Look at that. One starts to track over central Marshall County. Not saying this is going to happen, but if the models continue to trend in this area, not in this area, more so in this way, then we could have, the threat for tornadoes in our area. But that is not good. I don't really want to see that. I know those are not the strongest updraft helicity values I've ever seen, but it's still something to be a little bit concerned about. And if the models continue to trend this way, then we could have to watch out for the possibility of tornadoes tomorrow. Taking a look at the supercell composite, which is the composite for the possibility of supercells within our area. Anything over around 10 and 12 is it's pretty high. Moving out, around 6 p.m., 18 over in Murray for the possibility of supercells, 20 over in Dyersburg. Those are very high supercell composite values. The highest it goes is up to 30. It maxes out in southeastern Illinois. What? 33. That's kind of concerning, but this around 6, 7, 8 p.m. And then we have values around 14 over in, Callaway County, 14 over in Marshall, 14 over in Graves, 8 over in Paducah. I don't like how this is correlating with the updraft helicity that we just looked at. That's never good. Let's go and take a look at the significant tornado parameter, or SIGTOR, to see what it's saying. And if that correlates with the updraft helicity, then we could have the possibility of tornadoes on our hands. All right, taking a look at the significant tornado parameter index. Anything over 3 is that's pretty concerning, because this is significant tornado parameters. Significant tornadoes. Anything EF2 and higher. Not saying that we'll see an EF2 or higher tornado tomorrow. I really doubt that we'll even see one, to be honest with you, because it's so unlikely to even see a tornado in our area. But then again, I digress. Moving on. 3 p.m. Moving on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at this. It starts to pick up around 7 p.m. 5 at values of SIGTOR. 9 over in Dyersburg. 13 over in southeastern Missouri. I don't really want to see that. And then moving on. 8 p.m. Really high values of SIGTOR in our area. I don't want to see this. Look at this. This is not what we want to see in our area. Not at all. That's probably around a 6 over in Graves County. A 5 over in Marshall. That is a really bad 5. I'm sorry. But that's not good. You don't want to see that. And that correlates with the updraft helicity and the supercell composite. Now we kind of have to watch out for tornadoes. But we'll have to see if this intensification of tornadoes stays the part in the model trends in the future. Taking a look at EHI. EHI, or Energy Helicity Index, is a parameter to use for the potential for rotating updrafts. It combines surface cape and wind shear and the context of tornado development, combines them all, and that's where we get Energy Helicity Index. Moving on, I digress. Moving on at Wednesday, this is at 12 p.m. You're already starting to see some pretty high Energy Helicity Index values. Again, Energy Helicity maxes out at 16 down here. 16 is the highest threshold. Moving on, this is at 12 p.m. We have a 3.8, 8.0 over in southeastern Missouri. Moving out, this is at 7 p.m. Not the highest energy helicity index values I've ever seen. This is actually pretty piss poor, if I'm not going to lie. But it maxes out at 10 over in whatever county that is. I don't remember what county that is. But just know, it gets very high over in these areas. Let me change that color. It gets very high over in the portions of far western Kentucky. I mean, again, this high area could easily shift over here, but I don't think it really matters because we're already so high. We're at a 2.9, 3.0, 6.1 over in southern Graves County. Let's go ahead and take a look at a sounding over there. Yep, tornado. These are things that are called analogs. The models look back in time and see, they look at what is going on right now, what's being forecast, and they go back in time and see, well, what happened with kind of the same parameters and what happened then. We have a significant analog for supercells. Which is never good. 3,600 joules per kilogram for CAPE. And look at that wind barbs. Look at that again. Wind barbs. Crazy wind barbs. Nice photograph. Possible hazard type, tornado. Not saying that we're going to see a tornado, but you never know. Wait a second. Supercell, 24.1. Jeez. But, yeah, that's one hell of a sounding. But, yeah. And finally, I want to just touch back on the potential for tornadoes, wind, and hail in our area. Again, we're at a level 2 out of 5 risk for our area. I would expect this to be bumped up a notch. Looking at the tornado risk, there's actually already a 5% tornado risk in our area. That almost encompasses Western Kentucky. I really wouldn't be surprised to see this shifted, eastward. But then again, I'm not trying to throw shade at the Storm Prediction Center because they're a lot more knowledgeable than I am. Again, 5% tornado risk in effect, but that does not cover our area, except I wouldn't be surprised to see it shift eastward. But then there's a big 2% risk, which is, that's still a 2% risk for tornadoes. It's never zero. Take a look at the wind risk. There's a 15% risk of wind, damaging winds within 25 miles of a location. We are in that threshold. And then there's a 5% hail risk. So this is not really a hail-driven risk. This is more of a wind and tornado-driven risk. The Storm Prediction Center says they would not delineate a upgrade to an enhanced risk soon, and upping the threshold for tornadoes. But time we'll just have to see. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this Weather with Ryan forecast video. I hope you guys learned something. Stay safe out there. I'll have more videos covering this upcoming storm. I'll have one tomorrow morning covering this storm. It's kind of looking a little bit concerning. Last night, the models were they were really wanting to kill us last night, but they've toned it down, which is good. Thank God, because last night the SIGTOR parameters were 15 over our area. It was not good. It was maxing off the chart. But then again, the models like to overdo it sometimes. But hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys in the next video.